Please be seated. Can you imagine this baby who is too poor to have a proper blanket, too unfortunate to be in a proper building meant for human beings, receiving wise men from the east who opened their treasure chests to him? What was a baby going to do with gold, frankincense, and myrrh? Buy a blanket, perhaps. But as we know, the Holy Family fled to Egypt and would have needed these resources for a long sojourn there. More than their monetary value, these gifts symbolize the fact that the baby Jesus was a king. And they symbolized the homage paid by the wise men to this new king. Now, we don't use the word homage much anymore. It's something done or given an acknowledgement of the worth of another. And historically, homage refers to fidelity, loyalty, and devotion. The wise men gave all of this to Jesus when they went to him and opened their treasure chests for him. Do we open our treasure chests to him? How do we acknowledge his worth? How do we show our fidelity, loyalty, and devotion to him? A person might think that he or she doesn't have any gifts to give to the Christ child, or that the gifts would not be good enough. But you don't have to be a wise man or one of the Magi to give good gifts. You yourself are God's creation, and everything that God creates is good, so you can give yourself. And the wise men did not just give expensive things. They gave their time to travel there. They risked their personal security. They exercised their faith by following the star. And they practiced humility in visiting a baby in a manger, in a barn, in a little town in the backwater of the Roman Empire. We have more to offer than gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Each of us can pray, Jesus, I open my treasure chest to you. I offer my gifts to you. You may do with them as you please. Then, be open to what Jesus does with them. I have a good example in a lady named Ann Kyle. Long ago, she opened her treasure chest to Jesus without really knowing what was in it. Our Lord took out what was needed, and I think you'll see that too. And I have her permission to share all of this. We got acquainted in the Southern Deanery of our diocese when I was dean. She was a school nurse, and she was also in charge of the congregation as senior warden when her parish was between priests. Anne seemed to me like someone who was more than capable of being in charge of a church, but she wondered aloud how she got into such a position. While she loved being a school nurse, she discerned a calling to the priesthood that was, she told me, like swatting at a bee. You know, it just won't go away and it will eventually sting. I encountered her again when I was on the Commission on Ministry and got to interview her as she sought holy orders. Her blunt question was, who am I to get this call? I was sure that she was going to be a very good priest, and then she was ordained, and guess what? She's a very good priest. She serves half-time in charge of Sedelia's Episcopal congregation and half-time in charge of the ELCA Lutheran congregation. As chairman of the diocese's nominating committee, I called her a few years ago and asked if she would stand for election to be a deputy to our denomination's general convention. She said, well, I never thought I might be able to do that. It was the who me response. I knew that she would be an amazing deputy, and after she was elected, with more votes than I got, last summer I sat beside her as she did a very fine job at convention. And then in the fall of 2017, I called again, and Anne has told others, if your phone rings in October and the caller ID says Frazier, don't answer. I asked if she would consent to be nominated to serve on the standing committee. Again, who me, but with a lot more gravitas. She was elected, and throughout 2018 I was pleased to serve with her. And as president, I relied upon her advice and judgment, as did the rest of the committee. A long time ago, she opened her treasure chest to Jesus, even without knowing what was in it. He pulled out what was needed, to her surprise oftentimes, but not to the surprise of others. Many people agreed that she would serve well as priest, pastor, and decision maker for our diocese and denomination. Perhaps it is something like this with each of us. Sometimes the treasure is part of us that Jesus can use right now, but the treasure might instead be a deep passion to meet the world's profound need. And so we have to embark on a journey of discernment and formation, kind of like going to school to learn a trade. Sometimes the treasure will surprise us. A man in my former congregation said, "I don't know about all of this being Christian thing. I'm not really good at anything but making money." I reminded him that his regular worship was valuable to the whole community, and that he had funded medical missions to Haiti, shoes for Title I elementary school children, and much more. He was surprised. What are the things of greatest value in each of our treasure chests? I think that one of them is the willingness to give up our agendas and expectations, and instead allow Jesus to use us for his good purposes. This was the humility of the men of the East, to leave their homes and travel west to see this new baby king. And another might be our time. How valuable is time? Wouldn't we all like to have more time? More time to relax or observe a Sabbath rest. More time with our children, grandchildren, or other loved ones. More time to accomplish our goals or make more money for a more secure retirement. Or what if we gave our time to our Lord, should he want it? We have much more to offer than gold, frankincense, and myrrh, because each of us can pray, "Jesus, I open my treasure chest to you. I offer my gifts to you. You may do with them as you please." Amen.